same prompt, same tool, two completely different outputs. I didn't change a thing between those two runs. Same input, same model, same settings, and it still drifted. If that's your workflow right now, I want you to hear this clearly. That's not a prompt problem. The prompt is downstream. In the next 10 minutes, you're going to build one workflow spec, run 3 tests, and get your first clean pass baseline. And once you see where the failure actually lives, you won't go back to prompt tweaking again. Let me show you what's actually happening. When your AI workflow drifts, when it skips a step, changes format, or gives you a different result on the same input, that's the symptom. Most builders go straight to the prompt when they see it. But here's the root cause. There's no workflow spec. No spec means there's no stable contract for the model to execute against. It's not that the model is broken, it's that it's been given a request with no structure around it. Think about Marcus. Marcus built a content repurposing workflow. He feeds in an article URL and expects 3 outputs: a LinkedIn post, a Twitter thread, and an email summary. Except the outputs kept changing. Sometimes the LinkedIn post was too long. Sometimes the thread came back as a paragraph. Sometimes the email missed the point entirely. Marcus did what most builders do. He went back to the prompt, rewrote it 6 times over 2 days. The workflow still drifted. Prompt quality doesn't compensate for a missing spec. The spec is the contract. The prompt is just the request. A request without a contract is an instruction the model interprets fresh every single time. If your output changes on reruns without touching the prompt, you don't have a prompt problem. You have a spec gap. That's what we're fixing today. So why does everyone go to the prompt first? Because the prompt is the most visible thing in your workflow. It's right there. You can edit it, you can see it change. The spec gap is invisible until something breaks in production. Most tutorials teach prompt craft. Very few teach workflow architecture. Without a spec, every rerun is a new interpretation. The model fills the gaps with inference. Inference is where drift starts. Back to Marcus. After 6 prompt rewrites, his outputs improved slightly. Run 7 passed. He moved on. Run 11 drifted again. He'd optimized one interpretation of the prompt, not the workflow itself. You can't prompt your way out of a structural gap. The spec has to exist before the prompt matters. If you've rewritten the same prompt more than twice for the same task, stop. Write the spec first. Here's the 4-part fix. This is what gets you from drift to a clean pass baseline. Step 1. Write the workflow spec. The spec defines what your workflow must do, in what order, with what constraints. Task definition. What the agent must produce. Input constraints. What it's allowed to receive. Output format. The exact structure you expect back. Guardrails. What it must never do. Marcus opens the template. Task. Repurpose one article into 3 formats. Input. A single article, URL, nothing else. Output. LinkedIn post under 300 words. Twitter thread of 5 to 7 tweets. Email summary that opens with the article's core argument. Guardrail. Never change the core argument of the source article. That's the contract. 4 fields. Written down. Explicit. If you can't fill in all 4 fields without guessing, the workflow isn't ready to run. Stop. Define the spec first. Step 2. Build the context pack. The spec tells the model what to do. The context pack tells it what to know. Role definition. Who the agent is in this workflow. Reference material. Examples of good outputs. Tone guide. Constraint doc. Scope boundary. What's in this run and what isn't. Marcus adds his context pack. Role. Content repurposer. Not an editor, not a strategist. Repurposer only. Reference. 2 approved output examples. 1 per format. Scope. This article only. No external sourcing. No adding context the article didn't include. Without a scope boundary, the model fills silence with inference. And inference is inconsistent by definition. If your agent is pulling in information you didn't give it, your context pack has a scope gap. Add an explicit boundary constraint. Step 3. Set Q agates. Q. Agates are pass/fail checkpoints at each stage of the workflow, not at the end, at each stage. Did the output match the expected format? Did the agent stay within scope? Did any guardrail trigger? If a gate fails, stop. Flag. Fix the spec. Rerun. You don't push a failed output forward. Gate 1. LinkedIn post must be under 300 words. Gate 2. Twitter thread must contain 5 to 7 tweets. Gate 3. Email summary must open with the core argument from the source article. Each gate is binary. Pass or fail, no partial credit. A workflow without gates only tells you it failed after you've already shipped the output. If you're reviewing output manually at the end of every run, move your criteria upstream, one stage at a time. Step 4. Run the 3-test sequence. One passing run is not a baseline. 3 consistent passes are: Run 1, cold run, no priming, fresh context, standard input. Run 2, variant input, slightly different source material, same spec, same gates. Run 3, edge case, push an input toward a known constraint boundary. All 3 must pass every QA gate. If any run fails, fix the spec, not the output. Marcus runs the sequence. Run 1 passes all 3 gates. Run 2 hits a red flag on gate 2. The thread came back as 4 tweets, not 5 to 7. He doesn't rewrite the prompt. He checks the spec against the context pack. There it is. Spec said 5 to 7 tweets. Reference example in the context pack had 4. Conflict in the contract. The model followed the example, not the spec. Marcus updates the example to match the spec. Reruns. All 3 pass. That's a pass baseline. If run 2 or run 3 fails but run 1 passed, find the conflict between the spec and the context pack before you rerun. A quick pause. The spec template, context pack structure, and 3-test checklist I'm using here. They're all in the reliability kit. Links in the description. Takes 20 minutes to fill in. Go grab it. Let's run the full loop once so it's locked in. Marcus wrote the spec, 4 fields, explicit contract. He built the context pack, role, references, scope boundary. He set 3 QA gates, pass/fail, mid-chain, not at the end. He ran the 3-test sequence, cold run, variant input, edge case. Run 2 flagged a conflict. He fixed the spec, not the output, not the prompt. He reran. All 3 passed. The output didn't improve because Marcus got better at prompting. It stabilized because the spec got tighter. That's the shift. From optimizing requests to engineering contracts. Before you go build, here are the 3 failure modes I see most often. Failure mode 1. Spec has no guardrails. The output passes your format gates but includes content outside scope. Tone drifts. Arguments get editorialized. The model adds context you didn't ask for. Fix. Add explicit never do constraints to the spec. Not just what the workflow must produce, what it must never do. Never change the source argument is a guardrail. Never source externally is a guardrail. If the guardrail field is blank, the model has no hard boundary. If output is correct in format but wrong in content, check the guardrail field first. Failure mode 2, context pack too broad. The model pulls reference material selectively and inconsistently. Run 3 looks different from run 1, even though both passed gates. The baseline isn't stable, it just looks stable. Fix. Scope the context pack to this workflow only. Remove any reference material that isn't directly relevant to this task. If 2 passing runs look noticeably different in tone or structure, trim the context pack. Failure mode. 3. Treating 1 pass as a baseline. The workflow passes once, gets deployed, run 4 drifts. Run 7 fails a gate. A single pass is a sample. It's not a standard. Fix. Run the full 3-test sequence before calling it a baseline. Every time. Non-negotiable. If you deployed after 1 passing run and it broke in production, go back, run the full sequence. Can you fill in all 4 spec fields without guessing? If not, write the spec before you touch the prompt. Does your context pack have a scope boundary? If not, add one before you run anything. Have you run 3 tests? Not 1? If not, you don't have a baseline. You have a sample. The workflow spec template, the context pack structure, and the 3-test sequence checklist are all in the reliability kit. Links in the description below. Build your first spec today. It takes 20 minutes and gets you your first clean pass baseline. Go get it. Now that your spec is locked and your baseline is set, the next question is what happens when the workflow drifts in production and you're not watching. Next video, the 5-line workflow spec, written before the prompt exists. It's the contract that stops the agent from interpreting. It's linked on screen right now.